It's experience that teaches, right? Otherwise, it's just inert concepts in our minds. It's ideas. To experience, for instance, a loving relationship, whether it's your grandmother or whatever, that action, the set of actions that comes as a result of that emotion is what makes it real. It's the doing of life that makes this worthwhile, not just the inert concepts. We got to get out there and experience and recognize that the contrast in the flow of the moment of I don't want that, like I really, really don't want that, and I really want this instead, that's leading us to understanding. So when you're experiencing something at work where it's really, really crappy situation, you go, well, is it a crappy situation or is it an opportunity for me to step up to the plate and be the problem solver that I came here to be? Without a problem, there's no problem solver. You just sit around in a waiting room. So you have to get in the game and not define every problem as a big hairy deal, as something that's happening to you and suppressing your happiness. This is what you came for, right? You came here to figure stuff out and enjoy it and to be thankful for the opportunities for solution. That's what a problem is, right? I mean, it's sort of that one's been done to death a lot, but it's very, very true. Maybe we need new words for it so that it doesn't become stale. But if we want to be someone that is uplifting situations, if I'm basically the rising tide, that's what I represent. Whatever it is, every conversation, every situation, every parachute malfunction, I'm the one that observes and then realizes what the way to go is, and then I give my full attention to that, and I go with the flow of that solution set. That's what I came here to be, and I'm not going to be constantly riding the roller coaster of oh this is sucks, oh it's ruining my coffee break, it's ruining my ease and flow. This is exactly what you're here for. It's to go through the thick and the thin and not be miserable over the fact that life has contrast, that work has contrast. That's where else is the light going to shine but the darkness? It's Arlo Guthrie. It's one of my favorite line of all time, and I kind of live by it. I don't know if you guys know Arlo Guthrie. He was a folk singer. He's still alive, actually. Pretty old now. He said, if we lived in a perfect world where everything was smooth and easy and everybody got what they needed, equal wealth and the whole thing, you'd have to go an awfully long way in the world to make any kind of a significant difference. But in this world, he said, in a world that sucks, you don't have to do very much at all to make a difference. You just got to try just a little bit, just a little bit of improvement from the perspective of I have power. I can do something. I can influence it. I can say something to someone. And that's going to go somewhere. And you just got to believe that. Especially now, we've got the ability to communicate with so many people and gather so much information non-locally. We got no more excuses.
Awesome. Anyone else have any questions or comments for Brian before we let him go and do our rapid fire check-in?
Oh, I have one question. What's your advice for reducing anxiety when you speak? I realize that it happens sometimes, and I just fighting just speak with a fear. But when it happens, it's like my breathing getting heavy, and I just forget words, like disappears in my mind.
Yep.
So, what is your advice?
Yeah. Well, if you only have a little bit of time in order to regain your composure and slow down your physiological processes, you got to be super efficient. You really have to just snap out of it. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to put my feet on the floor. I might take my shoes off so I feel the earth under me and I ground my energy. Like, I mean, actually ground my energy. I don't know if you guys have studied electrical grounding, but it makes a big, big difference. That's where walking barefoot in the grass and that sort of thing is very powerful. But I'm going to stop and I'm going to breathe all the way in, right? And I'm going to hold for a moment and I'm going to slowly, slowly let it out, restricting the throat so it's not dumping the exhale. I'm letting it out slowly and I'm going to, they call cleansing breath. I'm going to let it all the way out, and I'm going to slowly return the air back inside my body and surrender in this kind of breathing. Surrender to just silence and peace and not thinking about the content, not thinking about right now what I need to do to solve the problem. I'm going to think about emptiness. I'm going to think about the beautiful, peaceful, loving emptiness that is the basis of my consciousness. And if I don't, I don't have the restriction of time, well, I can go further into it. I can do other things like walking in nature. I can do an Epsom salts bath, and light some candles and put on some chill music, because it grounds the energy, right? I mean, Epsom salts is, it's a salt. And so the electrical, sort of static electricity in your whole body leaves. These rituals do something. It's a medical intervention. It is when we're stressed. And yes, it is a symptom of our thought process, but it's hard to resolve that symptom if we're immersed in it. So we have to slough off that adrenaline and the physiological symptoms of stress in every way that we can. If we need to distract ourselves, that can be useful. Get the ball rolling in a new direction. This is where music and things like that, or comedy, laughing, man. Laughing is, if you're in an elevated state, right? I'm under canopy, under a prototype parachute, and I don't know if the thing's going to collapse on me. And sometimes it's a bumpy day, bouncing around. I can't escape. I'm here, is what it is. So therefore, I have to take the deep breath the best that I possibly can and relax in the exhale, relax my body. And then in this inspiration, right, the inhale, I allow myself to feel joyful and comedic. Like, oh shit, this is crazy, man. That's sane. That is the relief, right? When you cannot get rid of it, when you cannot expunge the stress completely because you're still immersed in it, you got to go with the flow with it. And that big wave that's coming, you paddle with it, and you have a completely different experience than somebody static that's trying to stop the world from rolling. It's not going to stop in this case. So you have to say yes to it. You have to surrender to it, and you got to keep your, sort of feisty self activated. Instead of shutting down your light, you turn up the light. You turn on the disco ball, and go, yes, this is freaking scary. And it's exciting. And it's going to be a story, it's going to be a story that I tell later on and go, oh my God, I was losing my mind. I thought I was going to lose everything. And then something shifted in me, right? That's the story I want you to be able to tell. Something shifted in a moment where I woke up from the nightmare and I realized that my life is a lucid dream, that I have the ability to alter my perspective to a higher one and choose my life, choose the circumstances, choose that this is, one of my favorite ones, right? Applies perfectly. Bloom where you're planted. This life, this moment, this situation, this is your opportunity. You may have a different job later. You might have a different boyfriend, girlfriend. You might have a new house, you have a new country, who knows? But right now, where you are, you might as well make the best of it. So I want to leave it with that. How's that?
Mic drop.
Mic drop, exactly.